All right. So talking time management and working through the model that we don't have enough time. If I'm trying to replace that thought and I'm thinking, I am becoming someone who knows how to prioritize the most important parts of my business. That feels in alignment. Whereas, again, telling myself, no, you're a liar. You don't have any time. Like the time you do have, you're just going to waste it anyways. Or furthermore, like Maureen was saying, like, and we were talking about, even if you do the activities, let's say you do find that hour of time and you recruit the people, you bring in, if you have this thought that you don't have time, you're really working against yourself from the beginning because you're thinking, I don't even have the time to support that person. So then your invites aren't even landing, not only from a point of view of like, you're not believing in yourself, energetically, you're saying one thing, but the action behind it is saying another. Like, I'm going to show up and I'm going to put out the invite, but I'm really hoping that nobody says yes, if I'm being honest. Like, it would be cool to hit my numbers, but I really don't know what to do with the person once they invite. Be honest. Have you ever felt that way? Like, I'll hit the numbers,
Mhm.
but then I'll bring somebody in and then no. That energy is transferring. That is how we block our own potential. That is how we block any forward momentum. So it's not just a thought about not having enough time. It's about you feeling like you don't have enough resources to even achieve the success and create that problem for yourself. And it goes back to the concept, and we said this a couple weeks ago. Are you, like, the thing that stands in between people and success is the array of things you have to feel and experience to get to success. And most people aren't willing to make this statement. I am willing to feel any emotion to reach my goal. Does your goal mean enough to you to experience any emotion? Ask yourself that. Because if that goal that you have set for you doesn't make you say, hell yeah, then you have to really go back to the goal and say, then is this the right goal for me right now? Or do I need to shift the goal? And it doesn't mean, and let me be clear on that. That doesn't mean like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be a coach. Maybe the goal isn't that you rank advanced to diamond. Maybe the goal is that you have a certain income. Or maybe the goal is like, I am motivated, like the Courtney Burtons of the world are motivated by rank investment, recognition. So for her, what moves the needle, yes, she wants income, which comes as a byproduct of the rank, but she needs to phrase the thought and the goal like, you are going to get elite, your team's going to be recognized, you're going to get to walk the stage. That helps her say, hell yeah, I'll experience any emotion in order to reach that goal, any emotion, any inconvenience. Some people are like, it doesn't matter that much to me. I can't go on trips anyways because my kids are little, right? So that's not a motivating factor. Whereas if you told that person, hey, my goal is to earn $1,000 a month, or to earn my Shakeology back each month, or whatever that goal is, and you're like, yes, that goal excites me. I'm willing to experience any emotion to reach that goal. So it's not about chucking the goal entirely. It's about rerouting the thought, right? So I would ask you, when you think like the thought of time management, come back to like, let's dig a little deeper under is it just time and you really need to lean into a new system? Or is there some self-doubt there too that you need to excavate a little bit, if you're being honest? And when you do figure out a system, is this the thing that you're going to prioritize? Because the other thing that can happen is we can give you a killer time management system, you free up the time. But if you don't change the belief, then you're not going to use that time to recruit and to get people onboarded into systems. You'll create a graphic, or you'll scroll social media, or you'll do something else with that time. Are you guys tracking me here for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me find this time. I had it pulled up and then. Do you guys, and say yes or no, because I have you on a different screen right now. So I can pull this up. Do you guys want to see this video where we dive into like how she power block in chunks, like how she explained this and went through the thought model with us? Do you have a desire to see this? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Let me get this up. New classroom. All right, here we go. Time management and business boundaries. I like it. Yeah, she posted this. I was like, that is one I need to watch right now. Because the reality is, too, guys, like when we're looking at bridging the thought and choosing an intentional thoughts versus unintentional, life doesn't slow down. And the minute you think, oh, I'm going to wait for this next season, it's going to get easier, there's a curveball coming at you that you never saw coming from a million years away. And now you've got to really decide, okay, so am I going to create the space because I choose to see that it matters and it's a part of who I want to become, or do I need to release it? Right. And so those are decisions you have to be willing to be honest with yourself. But that's why I say it goes so much deeper than a time management question, and really has to do with who do I want to be and how do I want to make it possible given the circumstances I'm actually living in right now. I hate coughing so much. At least this time.
Can I go real quick?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay. So I kind of want to pick your brain for a second. So I kind of had a little bit of an aha moment this weekend. So, and I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, there's a lot wrong with me, but so obviously going through a divorce. It had been 4 months, no contact, on my own, doing great. Like everything's doing really well. Like when I was in that horrible part of my life, I was kicking butt pretty well at times. I was almost diamond. I was bringing in income. And I look back and I'm like, he hated it. He hated I was a coach. He hated I had friends. He hated I was friends with you guys. He hated every trip. It was like, but that for some reason, that negativeness and that negative, I don't know, was pushing me harder and trying to better myself and be on this team and everything. I don't know if I was trying to look for a way out. I don't know. Now that I'm in a positive place, I'm happy, I am single, I'm in my own place. It's like I don't say all the time, but I have the time. I have it. It's like it's in my brain, it's in my heart, but it's like I trying to find that push from within. I'm doing the healing work. Like I'm healthy. I've lost 15 pounds since August. I feel good. I cut my hair. I got highlights. Like I'm doing personal development work, but I can't find that, like, I don't know. Like I can't quite figure out what is stopping me. I'm like, well, I don't have a computer. I'm like, I do really well when I work on my computer. He broke it because he didn't want me being a coach. So I'm getting a new computer for Christmas. For some reason, I don't do well with invites and stuff on my phone. I focus better using a computer. That's been some weird brain block. I don't know why. So
yeah, breaking down, like, I mean, there's a few things. So I would definitely download the business journal that I sent, the joyful one. And
have it. Yep.
Okay, so like all of these would be different thought models that you need to break down individually. Like the C line being, I want to like work my business, or needing to work my business, something that is a fact that you could prove in a court of law. Like this is fact. The thought you're subscribing to is I'm only productive when I'm negatively, like when I have this negative impulse. Like that's the thought I heard you say, is like,
Yeah, and that sounds crazy. Like I don't know why.
No judgment. Like a lot of people, like one of the reasons Amy Silverman turned like her business, and she came up from a really dysfunctional background and she wanted to prove everybody wrong. And now she's in a season, she's in this mastermind with me actually. So I know this very intimately. She's in a new season and her model has changed. Now she wants to provide for her kids and provide a different environment, but she was more inspired by the negative than the positive. And so she's having to heal and move through that process too. But here's the thing, like it's a thought. So again, going back to no judgment, look at it objectively. Like
Okay.
Congratulations for acknowledging that that was such a huge motivator for you. Good. Now, the new thought that like when you think that thought and now he doesn't, it's important that you get out in front of it, first of all, because the thought is, I need this negative like person in my
Right.
life,
Yeah.
right? When you think that, how does it make you feel?
Like awful. Like I don't want
Confused. I see
negativity, and like
confusion.
I want nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
confusion, bad.
Yeah.
You feel confused and bad. What kind of action do you take from your confused, bad place?
I shut down. Nothing.
Right. And when you shut down and you don't do anything, what kind of result do you get?
Nothing.
Right.
None.
So, okay, so we've extrapolated, like that's our unconscious model.
Mhm.
And now we flip it over into the other side. Like we're thinking, I want to grow my business. Like my business needs to grow. Like
Mhm.
what I want to do. Right.
Mhm.
And the thought can be when instead of this, like, let's use the bridge thoughts. Did you guys print out the bridge thoughts that I sent to you in the messenger? They are so helpful because you can look at it and be like, okay, it's possible that my brain is wrong. That's one of the bridge thoughts. And then you insert the right.
Mhm.
Like it's possible that my brain, because of trauma, was wired to think I needed negative. The truth is, I am intrinsically motivated. Or that was just a sentence in my brain.
Mhm.
Like the new sentence in my brain is going to be, I am motivated from a place of wanting to realize my full potential. I'm just throwing out some options. The reality of this
Yeah.
situation, though, and the important part of it is that you sit with that question and these bridge thoughts,
Mhm.
come up with what feels most true for you. Because I can give you ones that I'm thinking, but I'm not in your head having experienced what you did. So maybe it could be, I'm committed to thinking that it's possible to achieve success without having like a negative motivator in my life.
Mhm.
Right. And if you
Yeah.
replace that thought, if that's the thought, I am committed to thinking that I can be motivated from an intrinsic place instead of a negative outward source. What do you think? What do you feel when I say that instead?
Powerful.
Okay. That's a great.
Happy. Um. Courageous. Um. Like warm. Like I feel like a warmth like inside me.
Good. Great.
Like lighting myself up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even in your thought, you're saying, I'm committed to believing, I'm committed to thinking
Mhm.
XYZ. So when you think that thought and you feel powerful and charismatic, what kind of action do you take from a powerful, charismatic place? Like, and
A
that,
lot.
well, no, right, a lot.
Yeah.
But what specific actions do you take from a powerful, charismatic place?
Writing posts, talking. I got to get back on stories. Like I was the queen of my stories,
Beautiful.
and
Hold
it.
that thought. Okay, hold that. Those are your action items. Those are when
Mhm.
you're putting your to-do list together, and this speaks to you guys too that are talking about time management. Those items that she's listing out right now, when she's in her most empowered mindset, that she's like, what would I do if I was feeling like an empowered badass, thinking I'm committed to thinking that I can be intrinsically motivated without a negative resource? That's your to-do list. Those are the items that you prioritize, right? Because now you are backing whatever is on that to-do list with who is the most empowered version of you. So of course the things that are on that to-do list now matter to you, and you know that they're possible, and they're going to make an impression on who they're reaching because you actually took the time before you took action to connect with you. You didn't just blindly get a list from me that said post to social media this many times a day, reach out and invite this many people this time a day. That's what's wrong with the BAT. What's right with what you were
Mhm.
just saying, Allie, and why I was saying slow down now, don't skip over that, like write those ones down, is because that is what you need to be taking action on. That is what's going to get a result from people. That is what you put at the top of your to-do list, Maureen, Doreen, when you're looking at where is my time going to be most useful. You are your own best resource, but you're only your own best resource if you're willing to get into the mindset of you in that place and get out of the mindset of where you keep spinning the same wheel over and over again, getting the same answer, feeling the same feelings. Yes, like I don't have time. I need to
Mhm.
get this. Like that is not your most empowered place. And so therefore you're going to look at whatever list or BAT is in front of you. You're going to check the boxes, you're going to fulfill the actions, and you're not going to get anybody responding to you. And you're going to wonder why. I'm doing all the things you're saying, Jax. I'm showing up. I'm on the calls. I put my workout up. I put the check in the box. Why isn't anybody getting back to me? That's why. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I pulled up this video. Erica, I don't know how flexible you are to be a
Thank you.
You're absolutely, we'll get into more of them too, Allie, but what I'd love to have you do is work them. I want you guys to become your own best coaches on these too and share them in the thread, share them with me. If you get stuck, of course, ask me, be like, I'm not seeing something. Can you offer up a difference? But do yourself a favor and print the bridge thought worksheet and learn how to and what I'll tell you is this, the more that you do this with yourself, the more empowered you're going to be showing up for coaches that sign up with you, members that sign up with your community, because you're not going to shy away when they come to you and they're like, I'm having this thought. You're going to know how to talk them through it, help them find their inner resource. It's going to boost your confidence. It's going to make you more valuable as a coach. Right? So this isn't just busy work. This is helping you be the most productive version of you possible. And it's also adding to your skill set. So try coaching yourself through some of these thoughts by writing them out in the Joyful Journal, using the bridge thoughts, and then come to us in the thread and share one. Be like, okay, I know I see this one coming up for me all week. This is what I see. Write out the thought model. Be like, I think this is my C line. This is the thought. These are the feelings. If I'm choosing an intentional thought, I think this is the one. And we can weigh in on each other's. We can say, hey, I also might have used this thought and try that one on for size, see what feels good, right? Because we take our actions from how our feelings inform us. And if we're not checking the thought that's informing the feelings, then of course the action that we're taking is not going to yield the result we want. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Erica, I'm not sure if you're in a place or not to unmute or to participate. Do you want to do one? Do you have a thought model that you want to kind of share, or do you want to go right into time management? I don't think she can unmute. Okay, no worries. All right, so I've got Rachel's video ready to stream. It is exactly 25 minutes. So if you guys are good with this, I will let it play because I think there's a lot of nuggets and you're going to hear her use a lot of the same terminology I'm using, clearly because this is how I'm working through my stuff too. But I think you'll appreciate this. All right, so this is Rachel Bodie. This is Inside Our Mastermind. It's all about time management and business boundaries. Yes? Okay. Share screen. Where is share screen? Share it is. Right in the middle. And I will try not to cough, guys, so that you can hear what she's saying, but no promises. Oh, come on. There. Google Chrome. Hold on, it's making me give access. My computer just did an update, so hold on one sec. Share. Open system preferences, security, privacy, to grant access. System preferences. Preferences. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. If I was on this computer, it would let me right away. Oh, here we go. Okay. Privacy and do you guys know where privacy settings are in Zoom? Audio, video, recording, statistics, feedback, keyboard accessibility, maybe accessibility. Let's do that. Grr, I don't like when this happens. Oh, hold on, do this.
There we go. Zoom. This is way more tech stuff than I bargained for today. Hold on one second, you guys. Zoom cookies. No, why is this not letting me? All right, here, I'm gonna play her. And then we can just, I think you guys can hear her on mine. Let me see if this will, and I'll keep working to unmute it here. Tell me if you can hear her when she starts playing.
All right, I love talking about time management, and I think it's because I know so many struggle with this. And if you can really learn how to master time mastery and mastering your time management, you can create so much business growth and unlock so much more joy and fun and balance in your life, which is the point, right? We want to create these incredible businesses while cultivating joy, while creating balance. So in talking about time management, the very first step is probably not what you think, although maybe it is, since you've already explored some of the other classrooms. The first step to managing your time is managing your mind, and to really start to notice and tune into the stories that you tell yourself about time that feel true. Y'all, I struggled with this for years, telling myself I'm behind, I should be further along, you should have done more. There's so much to do. There's not enough hours in the day. I have to keep grinding. It's so common for high achievers. But I want you to notice, think about, right, think, feel, act cycle. How do you feel when you tell yourself, I'm behind, I should be doing more? There's a physiological response that happens in our body. Typically, it results in anxiety or pressure or overwhelm. And those feelings trigger fight or flight, okay? And some of us are equal opportunity. We'll go both directions, but many of us have kind of a direction we typically go. So tune in and notice, do you tend to go more fight or more flight? So flight is inaction, withdrawing, hiding. And fight looks like frantic energy, trying to do all the things and check all the boxes from a place of scarcity. The problem is, no matter how much you do, you end up feeling exhausted and burn out because of the fuel source you're using. You're fueling your action with anxiety, with pressure. The way that you know truly if you're being productive in a healthy way is to look at the results of what you've created. And I think it's really useful also to notice, even reflect back on your calendar or reflect back on the last week and notice the percentage of time you spent taking high value action versus passive action. Now, passive action isn't a bad thing. It's only a problem when you're not creating the results that you want. So let me explain. High value action create a result. It is, you are out there engaging with humans. You are risking rejection. You're risking failure. You're pursuing a worthy fail. So maybe you're meeting someone new, or you're creating a new reel or email, I'd say reel, to increase your visibility, or you are testing out a new recruiting format, or you're inviting someone in one-to-one, or you're mentoring or delivering in a new way. These are all high value activities because you're interfacing with other humans. Conversely, passive action, that's things like market research, scrolling, looking for inspiration, consuming content and watching trainings, creating graphics. Again, not all these things, these aren't bad per se, but they typically aren't the things that are going to directly, like, you couldn't just do these things and typically create a result in your business in terms of a new client, a new customer, a new teammate. So I want you, where we want to start, it begins with creating that awareness around your time stories, your thoughts about time, right? That's where it all starts, is awareness, because we can't shift what we're not aware of. So I want you to just notice the next time you sit down to work your business and you're feeling pressure or overwhelmed, or this is probably even a better a better way to approach it. At the end of the day, check in with yourself when you're feeling overwhelm or anxiety. Write down what you're believing. That is the thought that we want to address and begin to subtly shift in order to practice a new thought around time. So here are a few thoughts that I think create some possibility, feelings of in control. The first is I have total agency over my time. Like ultimately, even though we feel like there's quote unquote things we have to do, we have ultimate agency. And we know that because if there's an emergency, all of a sudden everything goes to the back burner, right? So we do have agency. Another one, I have time to do everything that's meant for me. I'm going to do the most important things first. And the part two to that, I love thinking, I'm going to do the most important things first and trust God with the rest. So depending upon kind of where you are belief-wise or the universe, if that speaks more to you and your beliefs, it feels good to believe I have so much of what I already want. This last one is, I think, super effective. The more I tell myself I'm behind and didn't do enough, the less productive I am tomorrow. That's a good one. And I really want you to remember here, your brain has so much practice believing that you are behind, believing that you're not doing enough. It has so much practice. And literally, no matter what you do, no matter how productive you are, your brain will always find ways to tell you that you're behind and it's not enough unless you begin to challenge these thoughts. So the thought comes first, the belief comes first, then we shift how we're feeling and how we're showing up. And this is true for everything, not just time, but I think that's a really good illustration. So let's talk about the tactical steps, okay? What are the tactical steps of time management? Well, the first piece is you want to use a calendar. And the reason why use a calendar? The purpose of using a calendar is it actually will allow you to create more time. It'll allow you to create more space to enjoy your life and create intentional, proactive results in your business. When you're flying by the seat of your pants, it's very difficult to be strategic and proactive. And that is what I see a commonality in the top and most successful business owners, both in network marketing and just even my peers, are strategic. They're proactive in their business. They're thinking ahead. So I'm going to suggest some elements for you to include in your calendar. And these are just suggestions, just like everything else. I give you a process. I give you a framework. But I'm the expert and you're the authority. So what that means is these are best practices. These are things that I've used myself with hundreds of others. But you're the authority to take this and decide how it works for you. Okay? So I would, first of all, suggest using one calendar. If you have a written and a digital and you need one central calendar. If you're using multiple calendars, you're wasting time because you're having to rewrite or document things in multiple places. I'm also going to recommend you use a digital calendar. I know some people like writing things down, but again, that also is a time waster because you have to rewrite recurring appointments. What I'm going to suggest today is I'm going to give you these components, and I recommend you create a skeleton, like a weekly skeleton that's going to have those reoccurring things on your calendar so you don't have to start from scratch every single week. It shouldn't take a ton of time to do weekly planning, and we're going to talk about that. Okay, step one, the very first step in effective time management and setting boundaries is telling your time where you want it to go ahead of time. So what you're doing is you're pre-planning your time and you're leveraging the part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain that knows what's best for you, that's logical, that's strategic, versus the lower part of your brain, your animal brain, your lizard brain. This is the reactive part that is kind of like a toddler with a knife. It's like, I want this and I want it now. They can be very destructive. It likes to listen to urges. It wants to do what feels good in the moment. Right? Seek pleasure, avoid pain, do it as efficiently as possible. This is the part of our brain that logically is able to override that. So we want to leverage that part of our brain by pre-deciding where our time is going to go. The other great thing about pre-planning your time is it prevents decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is a psychological term that refers to the deteriorating quality of decisions made by yourself after a long day. You notice how we never binge on, cookies at 6 a.m.? That's one of the, because by the end of the day, we're exhausted. Our brains are like done. So the longer that you go in terms of having to make decisions, it's likely your decision quality will deteriorate. So this is another reason to pre-plan. Okay, so the first piece or ingredient or element that I would suggest for you to add in your calendar is scheduling time for your weekly evaluation. This is part of the success guarantee, the success standard for the mastermind. I not only recommend that you complete that, I also recommend you share it within the community for accountability, positive accountability, and to show up for your mastermind sisters to encourage everyone to rise to the occasion. And what this looks like is you reflect on your past week and you plan for the coming week. I have a whole detailed classroom on doing the weekly evaluation. So you guys are all clear on that process. But I would recommend putting that in your calendar. I like to put an hour in my calendar.
That evaluation I've given to you guys too. That's the evaluation tool that I put in the thread where it shows you like, what were my wins this week? What do I need to do different? Like how many invites, how many reels? It just asks you, like it lets you see a snapshot of your week. And I was sitting down to do mine today. And I was like, okay, I can see where I need to focus my energy this week. And we can dive in more onto how to do that evaluation later. But what she's saying is like Sunday, she sets aside her time to do that so that she knows what she's planning in those blocks of time. It's such a good time management tool to do that.
For me personally, I do that on Sunday, different for everyone. Some people like to do Friday, some people like to do Monday, but this allows you to put your CEO hat on and work on the business from a distance versus just working in the business, which is so common for so many network marketers. They're so busy here that they're not backing out and really getting strategic. And so you can do this every week. I love to have it open during the week so I can make some updates to it as I'm going.
I don't know if you heard what she said there, but it's such an important distinction. It was like one of my aha moments. It was like, are you working on the business or in the business? And what she means is like, are you taking a backed up version and looking at it as a whole? Or are you so busy? And this is where we were talking about before the call about like, we're focusing on the how. I'm putting the checks in the boxes. I'm working in the business, Jackie. I'm getting my reel up every day. I'm doing my workout every day. I'm working in the business. When you're working on the business, you're backing up from that. You're like, okay, I'm seeing that I did all these activities. That's objective. But this is the result that I'm after. So maybe I don't need to focus on putting out graphics or doing this, reworking my bio or doing this busy work. Maybe what I need to do is focus on this area. That's working on the business because you're backed up looking at it as a whole, as a CEO. That's like a CEO mindset versus an employee mindset. When you're employee mindset, you're doing what you're told. When you're a CEO, you're looking at the whole of your business. You're looking for resources to work those elements of your business, but you're tapping into that part of you that is like, okay, what do I need to prioritize this week? I don't need to do everything because if I'm prioritizing everything, I'm prioritizing nothing. Right. And so that distinction, I think, is super important. I didn't want you to lose. I like rewinded it and listened to it again so that I could really conceptualize, okay, the reason I feel frantic and scattered is because I'm working in the business. I'm not taking a chunk of time, and it's not every day, but I take a chunk of time on Sundays. It's like slow down so you can speed up, right? Taking a chunk of time on Sunday, 30 minutes to look at like what went well last week. What do I want to have be my goal by the end of this week? This week, my goal is to like get people involved in the Health Bet and to hit Success Club. So all of my actions are going to be dedicated to that focus, right? So when I'm in the business, when I have business hours, I am very clear on what I need to be doing. I'm not worried about creating a graphic. I'm not worried about recruiting a coach. I'm not worried about all these other things. Yes, those things are all there still for me to do, but my actions are targeted and therefore my time is more impactful. All right, I'll shut up now, but I didn't want that to be lost.
Going throughout my week, the weekly eval that is. And I would recommend you turn off your phone calls, you turn off your notifications, you get in a silent space. And this is really going to help you to get intentional with how you're investing your time. to have the greatest return on investment, right? Because we're looking at what worked, we're celebrating, which is so important to point out those mile markers of success to ourselves. We're looking at what didn't work, and then we're going to be very pointed and specific in what we're going to do differently. It's huge. Okay. Number 2, I recommend planning what I call deep focused work. So this is a business block. This is highly recommend no distractions, no communication. You shut everything down. This is when you are going into the highest value work that you're going to do. You're going to step into that space as a thought leader, as a CEO, and you're going to really commit ahead of time to the results that you want to create. I personally love doing a 2-hour block of deep focus work. I do at least 1 a day. Sometimes I do 2 a day. It really just depends. And again, you decide what the most important work is. My most important work, coaching you guys. So coaching you all goes in there, mentoring, content creation, whether that's for email marketing or for upcoming webinars or creating funnels, like that kind of high creative work, that for me is deep focus work. So when I plan a block, and I think what I'll do is I'll show you guys a little piece of my calendar. I wasn't planning to do that, but I'm thinking a visual may be helpful.
I'll give you
And
guys
I
a
just put
screenshot of what she
little,
shares.
within the calendar block, I will put the results that I want to create. And I'm going to pull that up here shortly to show you guys what I'm talking about. So you have a little visual to go off of. So deep focus work. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just pop that open right now. So that way you guys can see what this looks like. Okay. Let me share my screen. Let me only share this. Okay. Take a look. So you can see here that I'm jumping ahead a bit because you can see I've also planned my personal time. So I like to layer different calendars. I have personal for pink. I have orange for business. And then anything in blue is a meeting. It's something that requires to be done at that specific time. And that's just helpful for me when I'm planning. Like if I'm planning something 4 weeks from now, I can open my calendar and see what is movable and what's not. But you can see here, like deep focus work, IG posts, value slides. So I'm putting in things that are the most critical things. And actually, this was the week that we didn't have the mastermind. So you don't see me having coaching anywhere here. But you see working on a team call for someone I was speaking on her call. So I'm putting in there the results that I want to create within the context of that deep focused work. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's see. Next up,
I'm gonna put it in
you wanna
Messenger,
plan
you
your
guys. I'm gonna put
personal
it in our
time.
thread.
What does that look like for you? Hopefully a morning routine with some thought work. Maybe you have prayer and meditation built in. I do. Maybe it's your workouts. You want to plan in breaks. You want to plan in maybe you want to plan in family dinner. I don't have that in my calendar anymore because it's ingrained now. So if there are habits that I have ingrained, I don't put those in my calendar. So again, this is just a personal thing. The next thing I want to invite you to consider is what I call context. You want to decrease context switching whenever possible, because that helps decrease the cognitive load. So what I mean is, what you're not doing is, I'm going to check an Instagram, then I'm going to go back over here and do a post, then I'm going to go back over here and open up my email. Every time you switch context like that, it increases your cognitive load and decreases efficiency. So, and when you context things together, it helps to increase focus. So it's the difference between monotasking on one thing versus multitasking. So for example, one of the things you probably saw in there, I have something I call a communication block. So instead of checking Instagram
I just put that screenshot, you guys, in our belief builder thread on Facebook if you want to check it, so you can see what she threw up on the screen to look at the time blocking. So what she was saying is she does a skeleton on either iCal or Google Cals with everything that's standing. So for those of you that work, and those are like the blocks you're going to put on your calendar every week that just stay there. That's decreasing your load of having to put them on your list every week because they don't change it. Like this call, standing time every week, those things. Put your skeleton calendar together, and then she color coordinates and layers on the other blocks of where things need to be. And so that comes in handy for those of us that are managing other kids' schedules, other things that tend to overlap.
so that you can find coverage, but having it all visual there, and then putting in that deep focus time that she was talking about.
Or Facebook like I used to all throughout the day and responding all throughout the day. I now check once a day. And within that time, I get to inbox 0. And my assistant helps me too. So she is already filtering through messages. So I'm only looking at the important ones, but I'm looking at my email, my Instagram, and my Facebook, and also going to my community. And I'm completing that, all my communication within that block. Now that may be a lot for you if you're doing it all throughout the day right now. So maybe you start with 2 blocks. You do 1 in the morning and 1 at night. That really is going to help you to be more focused. All right, number 5, or the next piece, is the concept of ownership. So often we delegate ownership about our time. Time does not just happen to you. You are not at the effect of your time. You decide how long things take. You create those outcomes. So the reason why I love planning in blocks, blocking your time, is it allows you to work hard and really work hard and do the uncomfortable things and be really focused when you're working, and then rest and unplug when you're not, right? I want to offer to you that as you are putting things in blocks, give it your best estimate, the amount of time you think it will take. You want to give yourself a time limit, because that helps really foster messy action versus overthinking. If you give yourself 2 hours to write a post, it will take 2 hours, right? That's called Parkinson's law. Things expand or contract based on the amount of time you give it. It works for getting ready too. You give yourself an hour, it takes an hour. Or you can do it in 10 minutes, right? It's dry shampoo. It's a law, and it holds true for any type of activity that you block. The other thing that I really love about this ownership component, again, when you set business boundaries, this leverages that prefrontal cortex again, and it allows you to plan and be proactive and really think about the future. Now, I have recently added this into how I teach time management because it was a huge breakthrough for me. I don't know about you, but I used to overestimate the amount of time that things would, or the amount of things I could get done. So for example, I would even share with my husband, hey, here's what I'm going to do today. And he's like, is that for 3 days or for today? And I would routinely over plan what I was supposed to do. I wouldn't get it all done, then I would beat myself up for it. And it does not feel good. That creates pressure. It creates inadequacy. So what I've learned to do is schedule in margin or white space. You're actually scheduling space inside of your work time, and it's breathing room. It's room for something that pops up with your team. It's room for you to have a nap if you're exhausted. It's room for you to go out and take a walk. So this is going to be challenging, likely for many of you, because there's a lot of things you want to complete. But actually, when you give yourself that space, knowing that I'm going to keep going until I hit my goal is inevitable. When you know it's inevitable, you're not in such a hurry to get there to prove something about yourself. You're really able to enjoy the process. And guess what? When you enjoy the process, it actually speeds up the results. So it's this whole catch-22. So that is something that you want to think about, planning margin. The last thing, you probably saw this on my calendar in the blue, weekly reoccurring team meetings, mentoring calls that you may have. You're going to put on your calendar things that are going to be recurrent, or if you have a one-on-one or something that you schedule, for example, okay? The reason why I love designing the skeleton is you can set these all recurring and just reuse it each week. And that is it's gonna super, what I found, speed up the weekly planning process, and it's gonna help you to decrease the amount of decisions you have to make every day. And here's the last piece I wanna just offer to you. So I plan on Sundays, but then I open up my calendar that day, and sometimes I'm like, oh, like last night, I'm like, you know what? I wanna move this block up because I wanna pick the girls up early. Lily had a project. She has an immigration project. She's studying Italy. So I want to pick her up and take her to this Italian market. And it was so fun. We got to like go there and hang out and spend time together. So that's the whole point of knowing what you need to get done to create the result, is then you can have flexibility and move things around. You're in control of your calendar. Okay, so the philosophy behind this, or the mindset behind this, and I want you to think about adopting this as a truth, as your truth. I am a leader who is proactive, not reactive, right? This is going to help you really commit to living a conscious and deliberate life, having a deliberate business by telling your time where to go ahead of time. And guys, this is a skill set you will learn through practice. Don't expect to do this perfectly right out the gate. It took me, I'd say, a couple years to really dial this in. And now I feel like I have so much fluidity and expansiveness with my time. So step one is telling your time where to go. And then step two is honoring your calendar and following through. Now, while I just mentioned the flexibility piece, that was something I loved my reason. I really wanted to hang with Lily. I really wanted to make this memory. A reason that would not be a good reason likely to switch what you have in your calendar is because you don't feel like it, right? Or you just want to really tune in and notice, is it resistance? Is it coming from a place of fear or resistance, or is it coming from a place of love? That's kind of how I like to check in. So you make your decisions ahead of time. That will help you to conserve energy. And I gotta be honest with you guys, there have been so many times. I mean, when I was creating the content for the most recent workbook, that was a lot of work. And there were so many times I sat down and I'm like, I am not really doing this. Because it's so much tedious, high brain power work, right? But when you don't feel like it and you do it anyway, you teach yourself that you are someone who honors your work. And this is how you build self-trust, and this is how you build self-confidence, right? Allowing the resistance and allowing the discomfort and doing it anyway, this is the currency of your dreams. So I really want to help you to learn how to do this weekly planning, because what you're doing is you're planning what your future will look like. I want you to think about that. When you sit down and plan, you get to plan your weeks with so much love and care and courage and intentionality, and you get to plan your week and plug in actions that your future self is going to take. It's just such a powerful thing. The last thing I'll say is I do highly recommend setting timers. I love to plan, and I have it's called Horo, Horo. It's a little app for Macs. I don't know if it's also for PCs, but it's on the computer. It's a little stopwatch app, and you could do a stopwatch, you can do a timer, and I like it because I have it there in the corner, and it helps to keep me on track. Okay, so closing up here, I did want to say to you, if you are in a place where you're like, yes, I'm ready to go, I just want to jump right in and start this process, cool, let's do it. If you are in a place where you're like, I feel like I have no time, this whole process is overwhelming, do a brain dump, ask for some coaching, coach yourself, ask for coaching, and then I want to recommend you do a time and calendar audit. So you want to get a Google sheet, put it in 15-minute increments, and track what you do over on your calendar over the next week. Track it all. What's going to be really useful here is you'll start to tune in. You'll start to notice, where's my high value action? Where's my passive action? Where are the commonalities? What's taking longer than I thought it would? This is such a valuable process. And I cannot tell you, if you have a teammate who's telling you they don't have time, this is brilliant to do, because there's so much time they waste spent overthinking, maybe watching TV, maybe scrolling social. So really help you to be able to lead them well. Last thing, 3 tips that I want to share with you for effective calendaring. So when you have the skeleton in place, it will likely take less than 30 minutes a week to plan your week. So this will really help you kind of get into the flow. So I evaluate first, which usually takes about 30 minutes, and then I plan. And this framework on your digital calendar is going to allow you to have it ready to go. So you have those reoccurring events that you can just add the details to. You saw how I have my deep focus work, and each week I just add different details to what I'm going to do. I sort of mentioned this earlier, but let me just highlight this. I would recommend calendaring things that are not ingrained habits. So if you are not in the habit, I just put AM routine on my calendar because it is habitual for me to work out, to do my thought work, to read my devotional. I don't have to put the detail of that. It's just what I do. So if that is not habitual for you, I want you to calendar that. And then the last thing is your weekly planning time is not the time to break down a new project. Okay. If you have a big goal, if you have a recruiting goal, if you're working on a launch plan for a new product, if you are building on a new webinar, this weekly planning is not the time to do that. I would recommend doing that during your deep focus work, actually doing that and then sharing it inside the Facebook community for feedback and coaching. Okay. All right. That's what I have for you in terms of time management. Take this, integrate this, ask for coaching around whatever you need, and we'll see you in the community.
I tried so hard to get the screen to share with you guys. I don't know why my Zoom is boycotting screen sharing, but hopefully it was like listening to a podcast kind of. The only thing she showed on her screen was the time block, like how her calendar looks. And I put that screenshot for you in our thread. Did you guys see it? So really, I know what my most powerful takeaways are from that. I'd love to hear from you. What do you guys think? What stood out to you about what she said?
For me, the first thing she said, the first step is managing your mind. But I like the deep focused work and what that is, saving time for the big things.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, telling your time where you want it to go and then honoring your time.
Yes. Yeah. I love the way she says this a lot, and it really resonates with me because I'm a control freak. So she says, I find it super empowering when I'm changing into my intentional model to say I have complete agency over whatever it is I feel like is overpowering me. In this instance, we're talking about time. So when I'm thinking I have no time, and I switch that thought to I have complete agency over my time, it's a choice, right? It brings it back into focus. When I say I have no time, I'm unbeknownst to myself subscribing to this victim mentality where my time is being told to me what to do, right? Like by my kids, by my husband, by all the life circumstances, by work. But and that's the unintentional thought. If I let it run away with me, that's what I'm really thinking when I say I have no time. It's not that I have no time. It's that my time is being told to me what I need to do by the people in my life, right? But when I say to myself and I choose the intentional model, I have complete agency over my time. I realize that, yes, I am choosing to show up for my children. I'm choosing to show up for my husband. I can also choose to show up for myself. I can choose to show up for my business. And in that choice, there's an empowerment. And then it's about refining how I'm spending that time, right? But the thought in which I'm choosing those activities in that block are so much more empowered when I believe I have complete agency over my time versus I have no time. Because then even when I do have time, I don't know what to do with it because I'm not in my most empowered mindset. Right? So like Maureen was saying, her big key takeaway was manage your mindset, which is why when I feel my most scattered, when I feel my most like, oh my gosh, I've got 30 minutes, I still spend the first 5 to 10 minutes of that 30 minutes checking what thought I'm coming into that work block with. What is the thought I'm coming into that work block with? Like, I don't have enough time. And then reversing thought, choosing an intentional thought, and then doing what I did with Allie. Like, what is the feeling now that I'm in that empowered version of me? And from those empowered feelings, what actions do I need to take? And then I get to work. It's been such a game changer, you guys, because nothing is slowing down here. But I do feel like the actions I am taking are moving the needle more. Like I was at last month was insane. I was at Success Club 12.
because when I sat down to work, I was like very clear I was very cognizant of where my energy was. And I took 100% ownership. I had family here, I had sick kids, I had therapy, moved home, all this crazy stuff going on. And when I created the agency to do with my time what I wanted, I sat down and I was like, all right, what is the unconscious model? Well, clearly that's BS, but that's not enough of a powerful thought to just say BS to that thought. I had to look at my list, and that's why I have the flipping bridge list here right in front of me, is because I was calling myself. I was like, all right, I have complete agency over my time. From that place, I feel like a badass. I feel like a time management guru. And if I am a time management guru, how do I feel? I feel good. I feel organized. I feel like I know the focus action to take. From that place, what action are you going to take? Well, I want to launch this group next Monday, and I want to have 10 people in it. All right, if I want to have 10 people in the group, what actions do you need to take right now? I need to reach out to these 20 because they're already on my hot list. I've got previous contacts with them. I need to send out this newsletter with an invite to everybody. I need to get in bod groups, and I need to send out a mass email to everybody that's one of my contacts. I need to go on Instagram stories, and I need to like three videos. I've got my timer set. I've got 3 videos I need to put out. I need to make them succinct and tell them why it's compelling, not what I'm offering. I need to tell them why it's important to me and invite them to join me from a space of why it's important. And I realized that I respond to invitations that way. And that's why I'm starting to frame mine that way. I start with like, this is where I'm at. This is my story. This is why I created this opportunity. Like, it's this whole model of like, yeah, we have a flash sale. You don't go and say, hey, I've got a flash sale on all the products that I'm doing. You go and say, let me tell you about a time when 10 years ago, I was coming up in the holidays and I had no money outside of my joint account with my husband to buy Christmas gifts. And I had no energy to show up for my kids in the way that I wanted to be as a mom because I just felt so depleted. And so on a single family income, I decided to join a wellness community. And by opening that door, I found my passion. I found a new career. I found like my health, and it helped me start showing up in my kids' lives differently. And that is why each year at this same time, I open up a group dedicated to helping moms who feel overwhelmed in this season of their life find a little slice of self-care for them. Does that invitation feel more genuine and heartfelt than, hey, I've got a cyber sale coming and I want you to join my newest challenge group. I've got a health bet group, join the health bet group. They're like, so what? You've got a health bet group. So what? You're working out every day. Good for you. I take them back into my pain because that's where they're at and that's what they can relate to. And then I say, and that's why I created this group, and you can join me too. Here's how. Right? Now that's a more impactful invitation. That's a more resourced version of an invitation that's going to yield a result. And I wouldn't have ever thought to do it if I didn't first check the thought. The first thought is my empowered. I don't have time for this. Where's my BAT? Or I need to put an invite out on Facebook. Hey guys, I've got a group launching. I've got a health bet group. I would hope you join me. Here's some info. Click the link below or message me. Thank you. Like that. Or here's my workout of the day. I hope you decide to join my health group. Here's a cute little video of me, right? Nobody responds. And you're like, Jackie, but I did the thing. It was on the BAT. I did an invite. I posted my workout. I did my thing. Where's the connection? Where's you getting into the resource versus taking a minute being like, okay, I do want to fill this group, but I want to serve this woman. Where is she at right now? Where is she at in her story? What story do I have that personally connects me to where she's at? And then how can I bridge that gap for her? And when I do that, when I feel like that's how I'm showing up in somebody else's feed, in somebody else's life, how does that make me feel? It doesn't make me feel like white noise. It makes me feel valued. It makes me feel like I've got something of value to share, to give. And from that place, like I want to get on there. I want to create a reel. I want to put out stories. And those are the ones that land. That's why I had like 5 or 6 women get back to me and be like, yes, what you said is me right now. Like, what do I need to do to get involved in this? Do you guys see those connections? So it's about honoring the mindset, getting into that story, finding the pain point. And remember, you know the solution you want to give them. They don't want to know the solution. They want to know that you hear them in their pain. So it feels counterintuitive when we're constantly surrounded by all these uplifting women and all this personal development to not want to speak to, hey, get out of your suck. Come join me in the light. They're not ready to see the light. If they were, they would have already fixed their shit. So you got to come down a few rungs, remember what it's like to be in the shit, and be like, hey, this is what I know. I know that feeling that you're feeling right now. Give some descriptors, use some of those words, and then say, this is why I put this group together. This is why I like the meal plans I use, because I used to feel overwhelmed and triggered by most meal plans and diets. And now I have a sustainable way of fueling my body, and I can keep up with my kids and I can sleep better. And I want to put that in as many hands as possible. And if that's something that you struggle with too, let's connect. Are we seeing the connection between the mindset and the action being taken, and how much more heartfelt and soulful it is to take action from that place? Yeah. Any questions, you guys? Anything you want to talk about or questions you have based on what Rachel shared? All right, I have a question for each of you. Based on what we learned today, what's the first action item you guys are going to take? First action item, and then the biggest action item. So first thing that you can do immediately, or like first thing tomorrow, goes at the top of your to-do list. And then big action item, meaning it might take you until we talk again next Monday, but it's a priority and you're going to make it happen. So I want both immediate and big.
The first thing I can do is create like connective stories instead of just posting my workout. Post why I prefer to work out at home, why this meal plan is working for me, instead of just sharing like, look what I ate, like this is what I did. I realized I need to have that form of connection. And then the thing that I need to work on that will probably take next week is like working on my business from a distance and planning out that time to have structured power hours.
Love it. So you have more powerful power hours. Let's go for having more powerful power hours. We call them power hours for a reason, but I think it's gotten to be such a slang term. We don't realize that the reason they're called power hours is because you're supposed to be prioritizing the most impactful actions first. So again, I love that. Figuring out when you're going to zoom out of your business so that you can really see it for what it is and create targeted action. I love that, Doreen. Thanks for going first. Who else wants to share? Everybody's going to share before we get off, but who wants to go next?
Okay. I am going to go hop on stories and talk for the first time since August. Like as soon as I get off, that's what I'm going to do. I don't know why I loved talking on stories. I don't know like what happened. Part of that part of me like shut down a little bit. But I'm going to go on and I'm going to start talking on stories again. My big one for next week, I'm not sure yet, but I will share it in the thread as soon as I know, because I got to think about it a little bit.
Thanks,
If that's okay.
Yeah. Maureen, what about you? Or Erica? Good to see your face, honey. Hi. I wasn't sure if you were on. We had asked you to pop on early, but I was like, she's probably getting the kids to bed.
Is Erica going or no?
I don't know. Go ahead, Maureen.
For me, immediately, I'm going to start telling my time where I want it to go. And then start thinking about the connective stories, because that I think is something that I need to start with.
I love it. I love it. It makes such a big difference. And so if you get in that resourced version, it doesn't have to take longer. I find that if my stories are way too long, especially now since stories can be a minute long, like I lose people, right? So I have to set it up right. Creating a brand story, that book, Creating a Brand Story, is really powerful in helping you to link this. But I always, I pushed back on that, but I realized that had to do with the thought, like
that nobody wanted to hear. Like I had unconscious thoughts, right? So once I started to check those thoughts, then I was like, no, this is why brand story makes sense. So like for framing the cyber sale, like I didn't just launch into, hey guys, I'm gonna have a cyber sale or holiday sale. I framed it like, hey, 10 years ago, I was on a single family income and I needed the best deal because I wasn't really like believing that I was worth making that investment in myself. And so if this makes it easier for you to do that, I want to help you get these tools in your hands because this is where I was. And I want to make sure I'm reaching back, to the women that need this too. So just that extra connection. It doesn't have to be super long. It just has to be more connection driven. But I love that. Erica, what about you? What's your right now? And I realize how far over we went on time tonight, guys. I hope you found this valuable though. So we'll sign off after this. But Erica, what about you?
I just need to work on getting back out there. I've slowly started to reintegrate myself, but I don't know. I feel like I just need to start over. When I started this business, I started it with like more trauma-based issues, like trying to get over things like that. And then after my mom died, I think I just have a completely and totally different perspective. And so I just think I need to just go back. I have issues with time. I have issues just pretty much with everything. And I do need to be, like Maureen said, more intentional with my time, tell my time where it needs to go as well, because I'm a scroller. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know what my next step is. And I'll be stuck on the whatever social
Right. And
media
that's a
scrolling.
mindset thing. Hold on 1 second. This is the kids' school. 1 second. Sorry. Hello? Hi, honey. What's up? Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Okay. I'll be right there. I'll be right there. All right. Bye. Hey.
Is everything okay?
No, hey, Mike. Yeah. I have to go, but what I will say is this, Erica, I want you, I don't know if you're just jumping back into the threads and stuff, but if you scroll back up just a little bit, there's the Joyful Business Journal. You can either order one or print it out. I give you the PDF. Read through the first part of that and then start leaning into that work first and foremost, because action that you're going to take from this mindset of, I like even saying I need to just jump back in. I can hear the hesitation in your voice, like just like I need to jump back in. I keep meaning to, right? Like, so that tells me right there that there's still doubts, there's still self-doubt whirling, there's still a lot of things there, right?
Yeah.
So doing these thought model work processes will help you to be able to distinguish, like, because if you start taking action from that place, is what I'm saying, you're just going to be wasting your time. Right? So it's not about just jumping right into taking action stories. It's about getting out in front of the thought, choosing the more empowering thought, and then taking action from that place. So I want to challenge you this week. Get that Joyful Business Journal, print out the bridge thought worksheet that's in there, and start journaling. Like, what are those unintentional thoughts you keep catching yourself in? And then once you caught yourself, turning them around. And if you need help, let's use the thread this week to not only celebrate when we catch ourselves in those thought models, but if you get stuck in one, post it and let's work through it together. Like, it's not that I don't have time. It's that I have agency over my time and I just need to be choosing higher quality actions to take with it. Right? That's a much more empowering thought. Right? All right. All right, I gotta go figure out what's going on with Mac. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.